Culture. What is culture? Let's look at the definition. Culture is the whole ways of life of the people of a society. So culture is said to be the whole or the way of life of the people of a society. So this cuts across the way they greet, the way the society dresses, the way they walk, the way they do almost everything they do. In fact, the language and religion too, and so many aspects of life. Okay? Then there are some concepts I want us to first look into when we discuss culture. And the first one is acculturation. And acculturation is a condition whereby someone acquires the culture of other people through contact. Okay? So let's say I travel to the US and spend 5 years there, and gradually I start to behave like them. That's what we call acculturation. It's a condition where someone acquires the culture of other people through contact. For instance, a Yoruba boy or a girl who grows up in Hausa land or Igbo land will acquire behavior that is similar to those of the Hausa or Igbo. Okay? Then the second one is called enculturation. And this has to do with the conditional ability of an individual to adopt or accept the elements of his own culture. So you have to know that this is his own culture. So it is the conditional ability of an individual to adopt or accept the elements of his own culture. These are examples such as norms, discipline, skills, social roles, etc. And to adjust into his culture fully through socialization process. Okay, so in the previous chapter we looked at socialization process and how it helps an individual to get used to his own culture. So that's what we mean by enculturation, to graft someone into his own culture through socialization process. Now the next one is called cultural influence, and this takes place when the people of a society are influenced by other people's culture through observation. So societies that are located in a similar place, over time they tend to copy each other. Like for example, Nigerians, we Africans, we've gradually learned and adopted the white wedding. Initially our culture was to do the traditional wedding, but gradually adopted the white wedding. Okay, so this is what we call, or what we mean by cultural influence. Then cultural alternatives. This involves a situation where culture is open to any member of a society to choose from a host of alternatives. Okay, so for instance, the ability of an individual to choose from various cultural occupations like farming, trading, fishing, blacksmithing as a means of livelihood can be referred to as cultural alternatives. So this individual or individuals in the society, they have various alternatives to choose from in the society. So they are termed cultural alternatives. Now, cultural consciousness. This refers to aspects, or let's put it this way, when an individual is well informed and deep-rooted in the practice of the culture of his people, so the person is said to be culturally conscious. The person has a lot of knowledge about his own culture, and he has a tendency to enforce. Let's say in Yoruba, people that they have to lie down to give respect to elders. Now, the person that is said to be culturally conscious has so much knowledge that is well informed about his culture and tends to force other people or persuade other people to adopt same culture. So this person is said to be culturally conscious. Okay, then cultural universals. These are aspects of culture that are observed by different cultural groups or all members of a cultural group, and which are difficult to change. For example, the way we do our marriage, our weddings, this way these days, and also dance music. They are said to be cultural universals. They cut across cultures. Okay, so if I'm a Nigerian or African, I have to marry. So it's a culture that a man and a woman will have to come together and they're said to be married. So this cuts across various cultures. Then in Africa we sing, in US people also sing. So music or singing is said to be a cultural universal. Okay, so cultural universals cut across various cultures. Now let's look at aspects of culture. Now they are divided into two: have the material and non-material. So when you talk about the culture of a particular people, they are seen in either material form, and this refers to the aspects of culture that we can see them, can also feel them, and touch them. Now, what examples are these? When you visit the north, you can see the way their houses are, the books, the works of art, the kind of food they eat. So these are material aspects of culture. They are things you can see, feel, and touch. So mentioned the food, the type of housing, their clothing, books, etc. So these are the material aspects of culture. Then the non-material refers to the intangible traits of culture. For example, these are said to be intangible. We have language, we have morality, beliefs, the belief system, we have the type of music, we have knowledge. Okay, there are so many of them, ideas, etc. So these are said to be non-material. Now let's look at the characteristics of culture. Number one, culture is said to be dynamic, so it keeps changing, it's not static. Over years, due to some of these we've looked at, for example, the cultural influence and cultural alternatives, and also these cultural universals. Cultures tend to share due to people immigration, people moving from one society to another. The culture keeps changing. So culture is said to be dynamic. Culture is also learned. Okay, that's very important. Culture is created by individuals. There were times in the past when our music was quite different. They were more traditional, but now we're gradually picking up a different kind of music. So there are people that come and create this culture. These people are said to be very influential. So by the time they do a particular music and put it on air, on TV, people learn and appreciate the music. So these people are said to create the culture. So culture is also shared. Culture is universal, is heterogeneous. Okay. Culture differs from one society to another, and culture is also adaptive. So people have to adjust to the environment for them to feed, clothe, and house themselves. So that's why it's said to be adaptive. Okay. So culture is also collective. It is not a personal property. It is possessed by a group or a society. Okay. So now we'll look at cultural similarities in Nigeria. The similarities, we have marriage is a similar thing. It's found in the northern part of Nigeria, the southern part of Nigeria, and also the middle belt. Then the respect for elders or rulers. These are said to be cultural similarities, but in detail they might be different. But for the fact that marriage as a whole is practiced in all parts of the country, they're said to be similar. Then respect for elders. When we see our elders in Yoruba parts, Yoruba land, we have to lie down and pay respect. Then Igbos have a way of greeting also, and also Hausas too. So respect for elders is found in every part of the country. Then farming, it's also similar in all parts of the country. Then works of art, like I said, the details might differ, but the idea of producing works of art or going to farm is similar. Then Nigerians are religious in nature, irrespective of the part of the country or the type of religion, Christianity or Islam. The idea of being religious is central. Then also trading. Then chieftains institutions. We have malams, we have the BECEs. Okay. Then celebration of births, weddings, and burying of the dead. So they cut across our culture. So when someone is giving birth to, we always celebrate the person and mark the person's date of birth. Okay. And also weddings are celebrated. Then when someone dies, always gather together to bury the person. So these are cultural similarities. Then let's look at the differences. Religion. Now we have religion here. We also have the concept of being religious, but the religion itself differs. Language, we have Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. These are the major languages. We have other minor, small languages. Then dressing, see the way the Fulanis dress, the Igbos, Hausas, and the Yoruba. So the traditional dress worn by them, they are different. Then the greeting pattern, like I told you, respect, the concept of respecting elders is a cultural similarity, but the pattern of now showing the respect, the greeting pattern is different. Then the kind of food we eat. In Igbos eat eba so much. Also, you have the people that prefer pounded yam. Also have what kind of food? Okay, we have tuwo also as a type of food for the Hausas. Then arts and crafts, the details of the arts and crafts, the materials used for the arts, what is drawn is different, but the work of arts, the idea of building arts is similar, but the arts itself and the crafts, they are very different. Then traditional institutions, so here we'll mention chieftains institution. The concept is a cultural similarity, but the traditional institutions, the details, they are different. Okay, so now this brings us to the end of the chapter, and I want you at this point to click on Start Quiz and answer all the questions following.